Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Bovee and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
Matt, we have a bit of a saying on radio sometimes, whether it's Jeremy and Joe or me, and we say, look, the players have to play one game at a time. We don't have to stay one game at a time. We could talk about the future, right? So is that allowed here for me to ask you a question?
We can absolutely talk about the future. I would actually encourage that we talk about the future.
Okay, question. 2 questions I have for you.
Okay.
One is just a kind of a prediction. The first, the most games that the Bills have ever won in a row to start a season is 5, and they've done it 3 times.
Okay.
1964. Actually, I got to look at the games in 1964 because that was before the merger. But anyway, since the merger, 1980 and 1991, both times they won 5 games and lost their 6th game. Do the Bills break that record this year?
Ooh, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say no just because I feel like splitting the Patriots and the Falcons would be totally fine for where they're trying. Like, they're going to be favorites in both of those games. They can win both of those games. I expect them to win both of those games. They also just slip up. Like, weird things happen in the NFL, and I think that's totally normal and fine. So I will say no, because clearly it's very hard to do based off we're talking about an all-time team record. But it sets itself up nicely. You know, notice I didn't say the Saints. I would imagine that that's a game, you know, we shall see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could. They probably should. I don't know if they will, though.
First of all, for all of you OGs in there who watched the Bills in the AFL days, I apologize. The Bills did win 9 straight to start the 1964 season when they won the AFL title. That was pre-Super Bowl, so it wouldn't be a team record, actually. But since the merger, the most they've won in a row to start a season has been 5. They won 4 several times, including recently, but 5 in a row is the most. So they have a chance to get to 4 this year.
What did they do the COVID year? The 2020. When did they lose their first game? Didn't they start that year pretty hot? I feel like that year they beat the Jets week 1, the Dolphins week 2, and week 3 I think they beat the Rams in that crazy game. Week 4 I feel like maybe they beat the Raiders.
Lost to Tennessee at night game.
Oh yeah. That was okay. Yep. All right.
And then Kansas City the following week they lost at home. At home in that game that was moved due to COVID as well.
The Tennessee game that year was, I think, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. It was a very strange setup that the Bills had.
That's right. That's right.
Good call. I forgot about that game.
5 in a row would tie the record since the merger. 6 in a row would get them the record. I want to push back on splitting against the Patriots and Falcons to be okay. Not the way those teams have looked. I understand aesthetically, you're right. Like, big picture wise, hey, especially if it's the Falcons, an NFC team, you don't want to lose to an AFC East team. But man, if you get to 5-1 at the bye and you're like, your only loss is the Patriots or Falcons, yeah, you take it, right? I get it. The way those teams have looked, I'm like, you got to win those games. Okay.
Go ahead. Let me push back on that though a little bit. The Falcons do not look nearly as impressive as I thought they would be. Like, the Bills should win that game. I don't know if the Patriots is. I don't want to say a cakewalk, because I know we're not talking about a cakewalk. The Patriots almost beat the Steelers on Sunday with 5 turnovers, 2 of them coming in like side to 5, where Drake May threw an interception and Ramondre Stevenson had his second fumble right at the goal line. The Patriots lost that game. The Steelers did not win that game. I think the Patriots are like a sneaky, difficult team. Like, I think the Patriots will be a more competitive AFC East opponent than the Dolphins will. And that Dolphins game was really, really close. And it was at home.
I don't disagree with everything you just said, but I also think that that's part of the reason why. I mean, where they are, they are giving the ball away a little bit too much. They make mistakes. They're very uncharacteristic of many years of what we see in the Patriots, and maybe even what we thought you'd get from Mike Vrabel. But yes, if they clean up those mistakes, much different team. I agree. I still don't know if they have enough skill-wise to really go toe-to-toe. Like, Miami has Waddle, and they have Hill, and they can get those guys. It's Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
Is who Drake May's throwing it to.
Here's what needs to happen. The best story for the Bills is that they don't ever lose, obviously, right? It would be so unbelievably poetic if they were undefeated going into the Chiefs game, and then the Chiefs actually beat them in the regular season, but then they somehow met each other in the playoffs, and then that was the year that the Bills beat them in the playoffs. Because, right, isn't it like kind of setting up so perfectly for that, where it's always like, of course the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They always do. If they lose and it doesn't like really hamper where they fall in the standings, like if they lose to the Chiefs but are still somehow the 1 seed in the AFC, I would be like, good. Like, good. Maybe that's a good omen that you didn't beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and this year will be the year that you can actually beat them in the postseason.
I've thought about that as well. All right, the second question is more of a fun question I want to give you.
All right.
Okay? It's future now. We're talking future here, of course.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. Okay. So one of the big reasons why you want the Bills to get the 1 seed, of course, it's the home field. Of course, to me, it's the bye more than anything. But it's also because you probably avoid both Kansas City and Baltimore along the way, right? Maybe those two teams knock each other off. All right. But what if I said to you right now, because looking at the standings, this actually could happen.
Yes.
Would you take this right now? Bills get the 1 seed, Baltimore the 4, Kansas City the 7. And let me explain why. If that's the case, Kansas City just has to win 1 game against the 2 seed, which they could, then they would come to Buffalo in the second. And then if Baltimore wins their games, they're coming to Buffalo for the AFC Championship.
No.
They have 1, 4, and 7. And the Bills would have to play Kansas City and Baltimore in back-to-back weeks to get to the Super Bowl.
In that scenario, the best place you could be is the 3 seed because you would still be in front of Baltimore, right?
I'm asking if you would take it.
I'm not. I don't think I will. Well, God, that's so hard. Of course, you take the 1 seed. That is so tricky. I mean, you're setting up. That's the whole point of the 1 seed is sure you get the bye, you get the rest. Like that's very important. To me, it's always been about avoiding one of the two.
Right.
And now it's only 3 weeks. The Chiefs do this every single year.
Yeah.
It's Baltimore. It is, if you can avoid Baltimore, I think this team can go to the Super Bowl. Or if you avoid both of them and you just have to beat Baltimore, and I say that just, right? But it's in Orchard Park. Like you got a chance. You absolutely should be able to do that. That's like the worst outcome. The best outcome is that the Chiefs, honestly, it's crazy, but it's that the Chiefs still win the AFC West and they get in, and then they would play Baltimore in the divisional round.
Right. So in my scenario, it would be 3 or 4 for Baltimore. You couldn't have Baltimore 2 and Kansas City 7. Then they would match up. The whole point is they wouldn't match up in the second round because 7 wins, they go to 2. And then the Bills would get, either the 7 again if they were to win. But in this case, or 7 would win, they'd go to 1. I'm sorry. So if the Chiefs were the 7 and they won their first round game, they'd come to Buffalo in the second round.
Yeah.
And then if Baltimore survives their first opponent, they're coming to Buffalo in the AFC Championship. I would take it because I just think you have to get the 1 seed. And I think as much as it looks great to say avoid them, you do not want to play another game. You just can't. I think one of the things that's really hurt the Bills is getting hurt in the wild card round. They have been without Matt Milano and AJ Klein. I'm sorry. They've been without linebackers where AJ Klein's had to go cover Travis Kelce, right? They were without players against, even last year, Milano got a little bit banged up in the second round game. Like every game you play is a little bit more of a chance that someone gets hurt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year, Christian Benford got hurt at the end of the Broncos game and then kind of rushed back to be ready for the AFC Championship game.
Right.
And then, or did he get hurt against the Ravens? He might have got hurt right at the end against the Ravens, and then he was hurt for the AFC Championship game early in the game. And then
Milano got hurt at the end of the Ravens game. He tweaked his hammy, and he wasn't 100% against the Chiefs.
Yeah, so I mean, I do think that matters, and having as few games as possible. I think that really matters. But honestly, this is kind of a nice natural segue into one of the conversations we're going to have today. Is that I watched the entire Chiefs game on Sunday night. It's not the same Chiefs team. They are a shell of themselves. I do think that it'll get better when they get Rashee Rice back, they get Xavier Worthy back. I do think that they'll be a certainly more competent team, but for them, it's a good thing they won that game because it is not like a super easy path here. Now they play the Ravens, and actually, let me ask you a question: who are the Bills rooting for in that game?
Okay, if you're a Bills fan, I have an answer for this. I think. Okay, it all depends on what happens tonight. We're recording this on Monday.
Yeah.
If the Lions beat the Ravens, which would be great, then fine. Have the Ravens beat the Chiefs next week because the Ravens already have 2 losses. If the Ravens beat the Lions, root for the Chiefs next week. I think the best scenario is have both teams have 2 losses.
I agree.
Chiefs and Ravens.
I agree with that. But look at this schedule for the Chiefs. All right. I mean, keep in mind, this is a team that, barely snuck by the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Next up is against the Ravens. After that is at the Jags. Now, before we started talking about this, we were talking about the Jags game, and you were like, "Oh, I think that'll be a rout." I don't know if that'll be a rout. I don't think
I don't think the Jags are very good, but I agree with you 100%. The Chiefs don't look that good. Yeah. Matt, last night I had a stat I put out. I don't know if you saw this. At halftime, I said, "Oh my God, like what are they doing offensively?" I did the numbers. I went to Pro Football Reference, Stat Head. I plugged in all the query. Now there was still a half to play. I get it. but the Chiefs were averaging 3.57 yards a play.
Yeah.
They haven't had that as low for a whole game. And granted, it was only half since 2014, outside of the game they rested their starters against the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it was historically bad for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, listen to this run. So after the games that they've played, they're 1-2. They go Ravens, at Jags, Lions, Raiders, Commanders, Bills. Then they have their bye. So that is 1, 2, 3. That is 6 more games. And I think they'll be favored against the Jags, probably the Jags, the Lions, and the Raiders is my guess.
Lions game is in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's why I was going to say that one would be determined on. So let's say they split those next. Let's say they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say they split their next 3 games. I mean, then you're talking about a team that's, what is that, 4-5 at their bye week? Like, that's not a guarantee that team wins the division.
And can I also throw this out there real quick that take a look at the date of their game against the Commanders and then look at their date against the Bills.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's a Monday night game.
Uh-huh.
Then they come to Buffalo.
Then they travel.
They play the Commanders on Monday Night Football before coming to Buffalo on Sunday.
Yeah. And
they have a short week.
And it's not like it's when they come back from their bye, it's not like it's a cakewalk. I mean, they come back against the Broncos, and it feels like even though the Broncos haven't started the season the way they like, I feel like they're still a team that's scrappy. Then the Colts. When the schedule came out, did anybody think anything of the Colts? Like, they'll still probably beat the Colts, but I mean, hey, you never know. The
Colts
Cowboys,
undefeated season comes to a close. That ends. Like they're no longer undefeated after this week, right? They go to the Rams.
I mean, after that though, listen: Broncos, Colts, Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. Okay, so the Titans are a cakewalk, but the Raiders are always annoyingly painful or annoying for the Chiefs. Like they're scared. It is setting up that right now. I would not be shocked if they don't win the division. I think they will be a playoff team that does not win the division.
I 100% agree, but part of that is because I think the Chargers are good.
I agree.
It's not just because the Chiefs are not playing that. The Chiefs didn't play that well last year, and they lost like 1 game.
But isn't it funny that right now, if you polled Bills fans, the better team right now is the Chargers. But if you said you have to play one of them in the playoffs, I think every Bills fan would rather play the Chargers than the Chiefs. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Right? It's like why would you put that on yourself? Like knowing what has happened the last 4 of the last 5 years.
There's scar tissue there. It matters. I think mentally it matters, no doubt about it. And Bills actually match up pretty well against the Chiefs. Even the games they've lost, yes, in the playoffs, they've been close. They've been field goal games with the ball at the end, right? The Bills they can match up. I think the Bills, the Chargers defense is very good. I still think their offense, even with Justin Herbert, he's playing really well, but it's not an explosive offense, right? They still, I think, are a team that the Bills could be able to play with and beat. But let me ask you, outside of the Ravens, and after the Ravens, who's the biggest threat to the Bills? If you want to say Chiefs, that's fine. Then who is it after that? The Chargers? Is it Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Chargers as the top 4 clearly,
yes.
Or are you putting the Colts in there at all?
Yeah, it's the Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Chargers, and I would personally, unless I'm just delusional, say that there's a tier gap after the top 2. I mean, that's what I was going to say at the start of this podcast. I spent a lot of time watching football on Sunday, and I was watching kind of games in their entirety. So obviously you're not going to get to see every second of every game, but you see snippets and all this stuff. And you do a lot of research and you read a lot about the other teams that are happening in the league. I mean, I feel very comfortable saying the Bills and the Ravens are in a tier of their own in the AFC and that they're really, really good. Like, I don't know what's going to happen on Monday Night Football. I think Sunday is a great example that you can never count your chickens or count the chickens before they hatch or whatever.
Yep.
But I'm expecting the Ravens are going to beat the Lions. They're going to be 2-1. The Bills are going to be 3-0. And these are going to be the 2 teams that are kind of fighting all season for the 1 seed with a nice advantage for the Bills that they already have the head-to-head win.
I say it all the time. I've said it before. I'm so glad you brought it up. I'm going to echo Matt's sentiment. I'm going to say it this way. Folks, you got to watch the rest of the league. I mean, I know we get hyper-focused on our team. There's not a lot of time for a lot of people in life to do that. You just want your team to win. You're focused on your team. But man, what Matt did yesterday is a great example of what I mean. If all you do is play fantasy football and then watch highlights on Red Zone and ESPN and SportsCenter, your view of the NFL is totally distorted. It is not the right perspective. All of these teams that are 3-0, teams that are 2-1, 1-2, doesn't matter. They're doing good things and bad things. The Bills are really, really good. They have a very good roster. They have an elite quarterback. They're not perfect. They have a third down defense concern that we've talked about. No doubt about that. But you got to watch the league, everybody. I mean, most teams have issues, even way far beyond any issue the Bills have.
Yeah. And one more thing. This has been something that's bothering me. I've been seeing on social media, and first off, social media can be a cesspool, but I've seen a lot of people on social media criticize the Bills' schedule as like, they're 3-0 because their schedule is a cakewalk. And like the league set it up for the Bills that way. Do people not understand that there's a formula that makes the schedule that has been the same for years? Like nobody at the NFL league office was like, oh yeah, we're going to give the Bills their hard games at home and they're going to play against the AFC East, the NFC South, and all of this, and the AFC North, like all this nonsense. Like
I haven't seen that. I know
it is a very big point of conversation right now. It feels like between like Ravens fans, some Chiefs fans, there's people who don't like the Bills of like, oh, it's a cupcake schedule. It's a cupcake division. The Bills are just benefiting from this easy schedule.
I do think they have an easier schedule.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Man, you're right. Are people really that uneducated about how it works to not know that only 4 games on your schedule are determined by are not predetermined? And oh, by the way, the 4 games that are not predetermined are all against the other divisions. Division winners from last year.
Yes, I know. It's crazy. And it's like, yeah, they have an easy schedule. And that's with it being a number 1 seed schedule. It's not like they had some crazy thing that happened and now all of a sudden they're it's not like that's what the 49ers have, right? Like if you're like, oh, the 49ers schedule is easy, that's because they were a great team that got a ton of injuries last year, slipped up, and now have a much more favorable schedule because of it. It's just like this is the way that the rotation worked. And also, by you saying that the Bills' schedule is so unbelievably easy this year, it would mean in recent years it hasn't been so unbelievably easy unless you're just referring to the division, which newsflash, okay, yes, the division is probably the easiest division in the NFL. It probably is.
So, great example.
It's the Patriots.
One of the crossover
10 years ago.
One of the crossover games for the Bills is the Texans because they both finished in first. It's not the Bills' fault that the Texans aren't as good as people thought they would be. Right? I mean, like that's just the way it worked out, but that's the crossover game. The Texans have been a pretty good team. They're a playoff team that almost it took the Patriots down to the wire last year, right? What's another crossover game? Oh yeah, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, it is at home, but they have to play them. Whereas everybody else in the AFC East gets to play either the Giants or the Cowboys or the Commanders, who should be pretty good.
Yeah. All right. I have one more take. This is gonna get me.
This is Matt Take Monday. Go ahead.
This might get me in some hot water, but I don't care because I've been thinking about this.
Wait, Mike Robier, make sure you're rolling on this clip. Go.
I think the AFC North is the most overrated division in football. And I've thought this for a little while now. Like you're nodding your head like you disagree and whatever.
No, I don't. I'm overrated.
People talk about the AFC North like it is the hardest division in football and that those teams, I get it. It's cold weather cities. It's hard-nosed football. You think about the Steelers and all of those years of the steel curtain defense and all this nonsense. And the Browns are always this pesky team. It's the Ravens. I understand Joe Burrow is gone.
Would you say the same thing if Burrow was healthy?
I would say that it's an overrated division, but it's still a talented division because in that division, you have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. I know there's more to it than that, but obviously 2 elite quarterbacks in the same division, they got to play each other twice a year. I'm not dismissing that, but we don't talk about the fact that the Bengals defense, besides those couple of years, is atrocious. The Browns have been a bottom of the NFL team for years. And the Steelers are the definition of mid, and they have been for like 15 years. And I think people talk about the Steelers like, oh, yeah, tough game to play the Steelers. You're lying if when the schedule comes out and you're a Bills fan and you're like, that's a tough game against the Steelers. You are lying. I watched the entire Steelers game yesterday. That's not an NFL offense. It's legitimately, it could get better. It's not an NFL offense right now. So people talk about the AFC North like it's not just the Ravens and a bunch of other meh, because that's what it is. It's the Ravens and a bunch of other meh. Like that's truly, I'm going to get in so much. People are
I think a lot of people will agree with you. I think even people in Pittsburgh might agree with you, to be honest with you, from people that I follow. Let me ask you, what do you think the best division is? Is it the AFC West now?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the
there's
first.
one not good team. That's the Raiders.
Yeah, but think about the Raiders, right? Like, are the Raiders that bad?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe that's
Yeah,
the worst team in the AFC West is probably better than the worst team in all the other divisions, right? Or at least
yeah,
most.
and this is not defending the AFC East. The AFC East stinks.
Or is the NFC North the best division?
E- those are the two, I think. The AFC North is like got some PR campaign that makes it sound like it's the hardest division in football, and it's not. It just isn't, and it hasn't been for a long time.
Well, the way the Lions played a week ago, and again, they have not played the Ravens yet, so let's see where that goes.
Huh.
The way that the Bears played the Cowboys, and I know the Cowboys aren't that great. Like finally, that started to click a little bit. The way that the Vikings just completely handled the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the Packers did lose at the Browns. By the way,
Yeah.
By the way, the Browns defense is really good. Browns defense is
but
really
let's
good.
stop talking nice about the AFC North after all this conversation.
But they don't. Yeah, they don't have much on offense. So
no, I mean,
I think it could be them. I do want to go back to your point though about Pittsburgh, because you just said how well New England, and you gave all the flowers to New England, but then you told me how the Pittsburgh offense isn't even an NFL offense, but yet they beat New England. I know they gave them the ball a lot, but
5 turnovers, Sal.
I know
5 turnovers.
2 right at the goal line, by the way.
If you're a Steelers fan, the Steelers are going to do the same thing that they always do. They're probably going to finish like 9-8 or 10-7, get into the wild card and lose.
Like,
That's kind of the point. That's kind of the point about the division. Like, I understand there's something to be said about getting there, but the Steelers do the same thing pretty much every single year. When's the last time they've truly been a Super Bowl contender? Like, truly. The Ravens are. I think the Ravens are the best team in football. Like, I think it's the Ravens and it's the Bills. And if they played that game,
you think the Ravens are the best team in football?
I think the Ravens have the highest ceiling of any team in football. I think when the Ravens play their best, people can beat them, but I would think that they can beat anybody.
2020 COVID year, the Steelers make the playoffs. They go to and then they lose to the Browns. Remember that one?
I remember that. Yeah,
I'm trying to think where they were here. Okay, in 2017 they were 13-3, but that was the year that I don't know what they do. Oh, they lost to Jacksonville in the playoffs. Remember, they got crushed. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville just barely beats the Bills, and they crush the Ravens. I'm going back to the Steelers.
And then they gave the Patriots a hell of a game in the AFC Championship.
That's
in
right.
That game. I just think too, like, I think the Browns are a pesky team. I honestly, it's different because I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the Browns and the Jets over the last couple of years, where their like defenses are really, really hard nosed, but they can't figure it out on offense, and it's ultimately kind of why they fall short. Like, how it would be interesting to look at, because I don't know the answer off the top of my head. But over the last 10 years, who has a better record, the Dolphins or the Bengals? It might be the Dolphins.
Because of a lot of mediocrity.
Which is the Steelers. And the Bengals, aside from those two, I mean, they get Burrow, right? Like, he's amazing. If he's healthy, it completely changes things. But that's now a big if. I mean, after the Joe Burrow injury happens this year, people are talking about the Andrew Luck conversation. Is he just going to retire in the prime of his career because he's now had so many significant injuries or whatever it is?
All right. So if you go back to this exact date 10 years ago till now, so not 10 seasons, like, because there's 3 games in there, right? What team in the NFL has the most wins over the last 10 years? Since this date 10 years ago?
The Chiefs?
No, they are actually pretty low. Remember, they had a bad year. Like, they didn't. Like, there's one year where they did not win a lot. Where are the Chiefs here? Hold on. I'll find the Chiefs. Why can't I find the Chiefs here? I don't know. I do not see the Chiefs here.
They never were bad. Like, even with Alex Smith, they were making the playoffs.
They did the number 1 pick one year, but that was a while ago.
That was 2013 when the Bills took EJ.
I don't know why I can't find this. I don't know why the Chiefs aren't even listed, but the Bills actually I'm showing as having have 100. Their winning percentage is 628, 103, and 61.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would imagine the Ravens. I would imagine the Ravens are really high.
I think I have the Bills here at number 1, but I don't even see the Chiefs. I think they left it off here. I'm going to StatMuse where you can kind of find anything.
Yeah. Well, I just that was a long-winded way of me saying, like, I think the AFC North is a good division, but spare me that it's the hardest division in football, because that's the way that it gets talked about, and I think that's complete baloney.
All right. Oh, yeah. All right. So I'm trying to figure that. Either way, you could take a look at it here. Most regular season NFL wins. There you go. It is the Chiefs. All right. I got it now. Oh, by a lot. Chiefs 123, Bills 103 in second place. Steelers 102.
Yeah. I mean, to their
You
credit.
asked Bengals and Dolphins. Let me look at it. You ready? You want to guess who had more? Who has more?
My guess is going to be the Dolphins.
By 3, 80 to 77.
Yeah. So like the Bengals are a much higher ceiling team with Joe Burrow. That's not a question. But it's been like, when is he available? And even the shortcomings when he has been available are like eerily similar to the Dolphins.
Let's move on to some Bills talk and set up the week because there's some injury stuff going on that we have to monitor. One is Matt Milano. Good news, he didn't go on IR, so I think he'll start practicing this week based on Sean McDermott's comments of last week. You would hope that is the case. Ed Oliver could practice this week. We know he didn't go on IR. You don't have to rush these guys back. You have the Saints coming up at the same time. You want to see these guys get back, no doubt about it. That being said, they do have a couple guys coming off suspensions. A week from today, they can start entering. They can start practicing. Michael Hoyt, Larry Ogunjobi, but they can't play until in 3 weeks from today. Yeah. Tyler Bass, an interesting one because he has, and Max Harrison, they have 1 week left that they must be on IR. Now, the way this works, folks, so you know, the Bills don't have to activate them right away. They can just keep them on IR. Do you anticipate them coming back right when they're kind of eligible to, or do you think the Bills will wait on either one?
I think they might wait. The bye week situates itself really interestingly with it being just 2 weeks away, where they might kind of wait until the bye week to reevaluate everything and see where their injuries are and how much roster space they have available and what they need to do with Hoyt and Ogunjobi. So I could see them waiting a little bit.
Well, those guys have to come back. I don't think the Bills have a choice.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like those guys have to come back. So depending on what else is going on, that's kind of when you can almost make like a wholesale roster change of like, okay, after the bye week, because then you have the time to evaluate the injuries and how people are recovering. Because realistically, we're 3 games until then. There's going to be a couple more players who get dinged up between now and then for sure. And that will impact how you piece together your roster.
So the tricky part here though, Matt, is like those guys, Maxwell Harrison and Tyler Bass, they can start practicing, but then they get 3 weeks to activate them. But if they don't in that window, you lose them. So you kind of have to make that decision. We want to open that window now, or do we want to wait? Because you need them to practice too. I don't think I'm going to use Max Harrison more as an example here. I think is proper. He hasn't practiced in 2 months. I mean, you got to get him reps before he's able to play.
I think the Hairston one could happen because the bye week does not count, right? It's not 21 days. It's 21 days of like an active. Does the bye week count?
21 bye week counts.
Oh, okay. That changes what I was going to say. I was going to say
21 days.
I was going to say maybe you open them up. Maybe you open them right after the bye week. Maybe that's what you do.
And then he'd be available by week 9 or 10.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like maybe that's how you do it. You use the bye week as like a little bit of an added buffer. Because if you did it in week 4, the bye week would be the final week. And I don't think that's the week you would want him getting situated and ready to come back. You know what I'm saying? That's why it kind of throws a wrench in it. Of like, if you did it right after week 4, that would take you to the bye week and through the bye week. And I don't think the Bills would do that. I think they would want 3 weeks where everybody's in the facility.
Okay. Here's one we haven't talked about yet. The Bills did lose a guy in the practice squad, Dan Feeney. He went to the Bucs. Okay. The Bills have a player on their practice squad injured list. Gabe Davis is also eligible to start practicing after week 4.
Yeah.
From what you've seen from the wide receivers, the passing game, let's just say Gabe Davis is healthy. Do you think that is an option that the Bills should explore, activating him for practice and then activating him to the practice squad and then maybe being on the 53?
Well, I definitely think for the practice squad at some point. I think you want to see what he is and what he has left. So I think that absolutely they'll do that.
Do you think he can help the 53 though?
As it currently sits, probably not, but I feel like they're one injury away from him potentially having to help the 53. Because
they're not even giving a jersey to Curtis Samuel.
That's what I mean. But I think they're telling themselves on how they feel about Curtis Samuel with him not being active right now. And I think that they believe Elijah Moore can do a similar role to what they wanted Curtis Samuel to do, maybe even just more effectively. But if there was something to happen with Keon or Palmer, I feel like Gabe would be the natural person to step up in that situation. The one thing we talked about a little bit on the last podcast was the Bills' lack of like a vertical threat on their offense. And it's interesting because I don't think Gabe is some like blazing wide receiver who's going to like completely stretch the field. But in the years that he played in Buffalo, his depth of target was ridiculous. And he did really beat teams over the top pretty frequently. So he might bring that in an element or in a way that other guys have not. So that's why I feel like getting him on the practice squad, getting him up. Tyrell Shavers in the role that he's been asked to do has been absolutely fine. But I could see a world where if they could replace his special teams production, where they had Gabe as their 5th wide receiver active on game days.
Yeah, the more I've watched Tyrell Shavers, the more I think Gabe would be exactly the replicate because he's been blocking too. He's being used as a blocker sometimes.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to take anything away from what Tyrell Shavers has done because it's been impressive. He's looked good. But I feel like the ceiling for Gabe is still higher than the ceiling for Tyrell Shavers.
Yes, I agree with that. And it'll be some interesting decisions they have once I'm trying to look. Dwayne Carter, we know, is out for the year. I think those are the guys. So Hoyt, Ogunjobi, suspensions, just so everybody's clear on how it works again. After next week against the Saints, they can start practicing with the team. Then they got to be activated after 6 games, and then roster decisions will have to be made. And that's where we will get into who's getting a game day jersey or not again, because it could be Larry Ogunjobi who doesn't. And if it is him, then it's got to be, to me, I think TJ Sanders wouldn't. I don't know who else you wouldn't give one to.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think that they would not give a jersey to Walker based off of what they've done the last couple of weeks and the role that Walker has had. I just don't see a 2nd-round pick not having a game day jersey. And it's different too because this is a 2nd-round pick they traded up for, right? Like, I get Landon Jackson. That was the entire discourse of the last podcast or whatever conversation we had last week. I feel like there is a gap, though, too. Like, 2nd-round picks need to be playing or at least need to be active and getting reps so that they can eventually make a difference. I do think you would never want this, but the blessing in disguise of all of this is that over the last couple of weeks, Deion Walker and TJ Sanders have gotten way more work than you anticipated, which should theoretically benefit you down the road. It really should.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what happens, like, when these guys come back, even on the actual roster. Heck, with game day jersey. I mean, are you moving on from a Javon Solomon? Or, I mean, if you were to release Javon Solomon, he goes to waivers. And by the way, on the TJ Sanders thing, this isn't like, to go back to that. One thing that is interesting is Javon Solomon's played a role. He's kicking inside without Ed Oliver there. Yeah. And without Michael Hoyt there. Like, he's playing a role for you right now.
Yeah, but he's playing a placeholder role. Correct. He's playing the Michael Hoyt role until Michael Hoyt is back, don't you think? Isn't that basically what they're going to want Hoyt to do?
Yes. Yes.
So that's why I'm like,
how if you were to move on from him, like actually move on from him, he could get claimed off waivers. And you could say, well, that's fine. I could allow that.
Do you think he would, though? Like, don't you feel like he could be a player that you could get back to your practice squad?
Good question. I'm not sure. I haven't thought as much about it because that's, I don't know. It's a 2nd-year player who led the FBS in sacks 2 years ago.
I know, but what was he, a 5th-round pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
A 2nd-year, 5th-round pick. I don't think that's like a shoe-in.
I just think you really like put the picks, where they picked matters way too much to you.
I think it does. I think it's an asset.
Every year is different, though.
It's not, though. Look at the acquisition cost. The only reason Kyrie Elam is getting a shot is because he was a 1st-round pick. 100%. If he wasn't a 1st-round pick, if he was a 6th-round pick, he would not be in the league right now. But because he was a 1st-round pick, it's the same thing that happened with Lewis Seen or whatever that guy's name was, where because he was a 1st-round pick, the Bills were like, okay, we're going to give a shot on this guy and see what happens. I think you have a much longer leash the higher the pick you are.
I don't disagree. I think what I'm trying to ask you, though, is do you think the Bills should be making decisions this year based on where guys were drafted on who's on the roster? I don't think they should. When it comes, I mean, you're not moving on from a 1st or 2nd-round pick. I get that. What I'm saying is game day roster, Landon Jackson, 3rd-round pick. I don't think it should matter where they're picked. It's either he gets a spot or he doesn't.
I think it does because I think it's just you need to have all of the evidence and figure out if this is somebody who could get to the practice squad or if they couldn't. If he was a 2nd or 3rd-round pick, he's not getting to the practice squad. Someone's going to take a chance on a young pass rusher who led the FBS in sacks. But because he was a 5th-round pick and so many teams passed on him several times and the Bills were able to get him, I think that means there's a more realistic chance that he could get to the practice squad if that's ultimately what you want to do. I think that this for the Bills is going to be an easier decision than we think because there's going to be more injuries that happen. Like right now, we're doing all of these roster gymnastics, assuming that everybody is available, and that's not going to be the case. No, you want that to be the case. You want this to be a lot harder than it needs to be. I just don't know if that's going to be how it plays out.
All right, last thing. Bills have the Saints on Sunday. I was asked today, do you think they could look past them? And my answer was the Bills don't do that. Look, I know they've laid a couple eggs here or there in the past, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars game was a bad game a few years ago. But generally, I think the hallmark of a Sean McDermott team since he's been here is consistency, and they basically just throttle the teams they're supposed to throttle.
Did you know that they have lost their last 4 games in Orchard Park to the Saints? Did you know that?
You know what's funny is I was thinking about this because I do a video each week. Every time the Bills have a home game, I've been doing a video, a Sal 60 on social with memories of that team coming to Orchard Park. And I thought about that already.
You don't have a lot
of memory.
The only
memory I have here is when they got blown away in 2017.
Sean's rookie year.
And that's Tyrod. The next week was the Peterman start.
Yep. So here you go. This is crazy.
Let me go through it. Wait. So the last time they played before that, I do remember in 2000, they just
2001.
2001 was not, it was early in the season. Maybe the opener.
Do you know how many times? Let's see. Was
it the opener in that one?
September 9th. So it very well could have been.
Yep. I think they lost that one. I remember that.
Oh my God. That was 2 days before September 11th.
Yes.
So there's 09, 21. How many times have the Saints played in Orchard Park?
5.
Yeah. Spot on. Bills are 1-4 against the Saints in Orchard Park. They've lost their last 4. They've played them in 2017, loss 47-10, 2009, loss 27-7, 2021, loss 24-6, 1989, loss 22-19, and then the only win was in 1983. The Bills won 27-21 against the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. Do you know what the line is for Sunday?
16.5.
16.5. Yeah. It's I mean, hey,
I mean, I could look at honestly, like I could see the Bills winning by 20 points. I could also see 30-15, and then you don't cover.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, you got a Syracuse helmet behind you. Weren't they like huge underdogs against Clemson?
They were. Right? They were huge. They were 16.5 actually.
So I'm in like the Bills, Josh Allen rookie season when he jumped over Anthony Barr in Minnesota. They were 17.5-point underdogs in that game. So,
and then someone said, "I'd like to thank everybody for taking the Vikings in their survivor pool." Wasn't it Kyle Williams maybe who said that or something?
Maybe. The minute you overlook an NFL team is that's not about fans. That's about the players. And I don't think they will.
Yep.
And I think that's important.
And I think we will have a lot more to say about that as the week goes on. The Bills are facing a rookie quarterback, by the way, Spencer Rattler, and Sean McDermott's done a really good job against rookie quarterbacks. We're going to have some good weather in Orchard Park in September. But in the meantime, enjoy Monday Night Football, everybody. We're going to, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, the game is already over. We'll have more for you as the week progresses. If you're getting to us now, we're recording on a Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll have more as the week progresses. And, of course, we'll get into more of the Bills-Saints matchup. And, of course, you got Leading the Charge coming up.
Yeah, Leading the Charge every Monday night from 7 to 8, and we're really excited about that. The Leading the Charge podcast available wherever you pod. That's a nice additional listen for anybody who wants more Bills content. And, yeah, lots of stuff going on over here.
And real quickly, want to thank our producer, Mike Rabier, what's the story with Mike? He watched the Bills game. He was wearing a Bills jersey or something. Did I see
him? Yeah, Mike's in. Mike's now a Bills fan. All this talk, all he's listened to us talking about the Bills, now he's in on the Bills. So welcome to the, most insane fan base ever, buddy. Yeah, he texted us and said, I watched the game at a Bills backers bar in Bristol, Connecticut, home of ESPN. Pictured with the Kincaid jersey is Charles El Presidente of the group. It's a fun place. So thank you, Mike. We appreciate you joining our squad and our side here, but you've always been on our side doing a great job. So thanks a lot, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo.